Hi everyone, welcome to Playground in the Clouds. I'm Yu. Today we are going to build a Discord bot on App Engine together. Before we get to work, I want to just talk a little bit about why App Engine. If you look for how to build a Discord bot on internet, most articles will tell you need a server or you need a VM or a VPS. Those are just different names for virtual servers. App Engine works a little bit differently, as you don't need to manage a server anymore. Hopefully through this video you will see how easy it is to build a Discord bot and deploy it on App Engine. So let's get started. I will just share my screen. So for the purpose of this demo, we are going to use Python. So we are going to use the discord.py Python SDK. If Node.js is your thing, you can pretty much follow the same steps. I can talk a little bit about it at the end. So personally, I found this discord.py quick start guide very easy to follow. Before we get into the code, we will need to install this library. So we can go to the installation section. So we can install the library, just use pip. But like many other Python projects, we want to use virtual environment to manage the dependencies. If you're not familiar with virtual environment or haven't used it before, you can leave a comment. I may do a separate video about it. But for the interest of time today, I'm not going to talk in depth about virtual environment. So I will just go ahead and create a virtual environment. The tool I use to create a virtual environment is virtualenv. So I will just create a virtual environment in this folder. So now this virtual environment for Python 3.8 has already been created. I will switch into this virtual environment. And then I can come back to this installation page and I can copy this command and install this discord.py library. Now it's already installed. Here there's a warning message, but it's just about the pip upgrade. I can ignore it for now. After we install the library, we can just copy this example code. So I will copy this piece of code into a file that I already created called main.py. Because we are going to deploy to App Engine later, so main.py is the default entry point, but you will be able to overwrite the entry point anyway, but for now we just call it main.py. So, and in this documentation, it talks a little bit about each line of this code, what it's about. So the first line of the code is to import this Discord library we just installed. And second line, it created a Discord client. So a client is like a user. Think about the client is a user like yourself. The first, before they can receive messages and send messages on the Discord server, they will have to log on to the server. So first we will need to create this client. And these two pieces of code here, don't worry if you don't know exactly what this line is about and what async means. So this line is called a Python decorator, and this async is a syntax for defining asynchronous functions. But at the moment, you don't need to worry about these concepts if you are not already familiar with. All you need to know is the use of these two functions. As you can see, this onReady function and this onMessage function. So onReady function is effectively to say, okay, once this client logged on to my Discord server, what we need to do. So here what it does is to print a message, to say we have logged in as this user, and this print message will go into the logs on App Engine. So it will not show on your Discord chat channels, but it will be captured in the App Engine log. So it's more for you to debug, for you to check if the program is running correctly. And this part on message, effectively it says, when I receive a message, what should I do? So this client is like you. When you see a message, you will decide whether I ignore it or I respond to this message. So we can see this first if statement. The first if statement basically is saying if the author of this message equals to the user of this client. So basically this is the message I sent myself, then I just return. Basically it means I just ignore the message and do nothing. And the second if statement, what it says here is if the message content starts with a $ hello, I will send a hello in the message in the channel where the message comes from. So we will see a little bit how this works in action. Just to recap on the most important point, the most important points are these two functions. So the onReady function is it's executed when the client log on the Discord server, and the onMessage function gets executed whenever a message arrived. The last line of this code is basically to start this client, so start the execution of this Discord bot, and later on we will need to put a token here. A token is effectively like a password for this client, and later on I will show you how to create this token. So we go back to this documentation. So effectively we have already just covered the first 5 points. So the number 6 final step is we need to create a bot account. So the bot account is like, if we think a bot is a user, the account is the user account for the bot. So we'll follow this guide. We can just go straight into the application page. So this link should take us to the developer portal. So here, as you can see, I already created two applications before, but today, for the purpose of this demo, I'm going to create a new application. We can call it Discord bot demo, just to differentiate from the projects I created before. So once we created this bot account, we can follow the reference on this page, and then we go to the bot tab. So the bot tab here, and we want to build a bot, so we add a bot, and yes, let's do it. So this bot has already been created. A white bot has appeared, and we can give a name to this bot, but we can just leave it as a Discord bot demo. And here you see we will be able to generate the token I just mentioned. So the token that goes in here. Here it's very important that this token is like the password to your personal account, to a bot. So it's very important to keep the token safe. You should not really show this token to anyone else, but just because I'm doing this video to show you, to walk through the concept with you, I'm going to review it here. But as soon as I finish recording this video, I'm going to actually regenerate, so basically revoke this token or make it ineffective. So, but you can see this token is basically a very long random string that serves as a password of your Discord bot. And we're going to copy this token, and not surprisingly, we are going to put back into this to replace your token here. So basically we are supplying the password for this client to log on the server. And after this step, there are still a couple of steps remaining before we can test this bot locally. So the next steps are we need to give the bot permissions to our server. So the way we do it is to go to the OAuth 2 tab. So OAuth 2 is basically a way to authorize our bot into specific Discord servers. So we can ignore this part for now. And what we need to do here is to generate our authorization URL. So to generate this, for now, we are going to tick the scope. It's just for bots. And we are going to give the bot some permissions on the server. We simply just going to give it a send messages permission. So it's a very simple permission. And as soon as I ticked this box, you can see the permission string here has changed. So this means this if we copy this token, copy this URL and go to this URL and authorize our bot, the bot will get the permission send messages. So let's do it. So we copy this URL and we paste into a new page in our browser. Now we will be able to choose which server we want this bot to be added to. So here I will choose my sandbox server. And here I need to mention that if you don't find your server, it's probably because you don't have the user you logged on does not have the permission, the admin permission to the server. So basically to add a bot, you have to have the admin permission to the server. So here I can add this bot to this sandbox server I have. So I can click continue. And here this is what we just chosen. We want to give the bot the send messages permission. So we keep this box ticked and click authorize. And I'm a human, hopefully. And now the bot has been authorized to our server. So if I go back to our bot, you can already immediately see there's a new bot account being added to this server. The bot we just created, which was called Discord bot demo, and the Discord bot demo user here. So now we should already be able to run this code locally. So we'll try to do it. So I will just show it in the terminal here. So to run this code, I simply use Python 3. And because my file name is main.py, so I just put main.py here. Here you can see it printed out a message here, which is the print statement here. We have logged in as Discord bot demo and something. So now if we go back to Discord, you can see this Discord bot previously was offline, became online. So it means this bot has already successfully connected. And now we can check whether it does what it's supposed to do. So in this code, we're saying if this bot receives any message that starts with $hello, we'll send a message hello back. So I will just write exactly the same message in this demo channel. It doesn't matter at the moment which channel I send this message. So here, you see, we immediately receive a message hello bank from the bot. This here, it means this bot is already working. And now the next step should be deploying this bot to App Engine so it lives on internet. I don't have to keep my computer open or this program running locally on my computer anymore. We can just interact with this bot at any time. But before I do that, I just want to emphasize on something that if you remember what we said, this token, this Discord bot token, is effectively the password of our bot. So for the best practice, you really shouldn't put this token in plain text in your code, because this code may be accessed by other people. You may decide to, for example, put this piece of code on GitHub and make it public. In that case, everyone will be able to see your token. So for the purpose of today's demo, we are just going to deploy this piece of code to App Engine as it is, and hopefully I will give you some advice on how to manage this token more securely in the following videos, but for the purpose of today, we will just keep it simple as it is. So we are going to deploy this bot to App Engine. So I will just stop this program here. How we do it? So to deploy it on App Engine, because App Engine is part of a Google Cloud product, you will have to you will need a Google Cloud account. So if you haven't created one, you need to follow the steps to create an account for Google Cloud. And again, if there are any questions, feel free to give me a message. If in appropriate time, I can make another video, maybe specifically on how to create an account for Google Cloud. But for today, I will just assume you already have this Google Cloud account created. And we will go ahead to create a new project for our demo. So I will create a new project. I can call it again Discord bot demo, and we don't need to assign an organization for this project, so I'll just click project, click create. Now this project is being created. It may take a minute. Now here you can see we have successfully created this project. So here now we can see we are in this project called Discord bot demo. Here I'm already on the app engine page. So if you don't find this page, or your page looks differently, you just need to go to the navigation bar on the left hand side, and the App Engine is under Compute. You'll be able to choose App Engine and click on the dashboard, and you will get to this App Engine page. Here I can click create application here, but it's actually far easier if you have gcloud command line toolkit installed. So if you are not familiar with this gcloud command line toolkit, I will share a link under this video later. But basically, you can also Google gcloud SDK. You will easily find this page on how to install Google Cloud SDK. So here I already have the gcloud command line toolkit installed. What I need to do is actually switch to the project I just created in the command line as well. How we do it is to use gcloud and config. So because it's a configuration, and I need to set project, and then I go back to the Google Cloud Console, and I copy the ID of the project. Just to confirm, we have successfully switched to this project. We can use gcloud config list. Now here you'll be able to see this is my, I've logged on with this account, and we are in this Discord bot demo project. So from now, it's actually very simple to deploy this application to App Engine. all we need to do, there are two things we need to do. First of all, we need to create a requirements.txt. So for those who are familiar with Python, I guess I don't need to explain much more. This requirements.txt is to tell other users or other systems that your application depends on the following libraries. So I will just go ahead to create this requirements.txt, and I will explain a little bit later. So I create a file called requirements.txt. So this is really just a convention that because everyone calls it requirements.txt, so we just prefer to call it requirements.txt. And we can use the pip command to give us a list of dependencies our code relies on. So to do that, I'll just use pip3 phrase and -- local. Here actually there are some dependencies I don't really need to put in the requirements.py. I'll just copy this line. So because this is the only library we installed so far, so all we need is actually just to put this line in requirements.txt. So I save this file. So this way, when we deploy this application or program to App Engine will be able to figure out the dependencies. So in this case, Discord to py, and install this dependency automatically for us. So it's really easy to manage. And the second thing we need to do is we need to create an app.yaml. And again, you don't have to call it app.yaml, but this is just a convention. And if you follow this convention, it will make your life easier later. So we create this app.yaml. And just for the interest of time, I'm not going to go into too much depth about this app.yaml file. I'm going to instead copy the app.yaml file I created for another project before, and I will explain to you a little bit what these lines are about. So I copy this and I put it in here. So the first line of app.yaml is the runtime, basically which Python version you want to use. For us, because our Python version was 3.8, I can change it to Python 3.8. It doesn't really matter. And the second line is the instant class. Instant class is like to say what type of machine you want to run this application on. In our case, we choose the backend one type, that is the smallest instant type for backend applications. In our case, our application don't need to interact with user directly, so it's a backend instant type is more suitable for this type of program. And the third line of this code is which service we want to call it. So in this case, I'm going to remove this line because in this Google project, we haven't created an application before. So essentially means whichever service we deploy, this program will be the default service. So I don't need to name the default service. So I just remove this line. And the following two lines are manual scaling and instances 1. What it says is effectively I always want exactly one instance for this application. So I don't want more, I don't want less, I just want one. So this is all it means. The reason we want just exactly one instance for our Discord bot is that imagine you like a user. As a user, you don't need to actually log on 2 times at 2 different machines in order to use Discord. You may have the need, but you don't have to. And in our case, if our bot is logged on more than once, so as multiple users to Discord, what would happen is actually whenever it receives the message, it processes the message. It actually will process the message twice and send two responses. This is what we don't want. So we just want to specify, we just want exactly one instance running at a single point of time. So that's the reason we add these two lines here. And the last line, entry point. So this is something very specific about App Engine and about Python. So by default, App Engine will create two workers for each two Python workers for each instance. Just like we just said, we don't want more than more than one bots running at a single point of time. So we don't want two workers either. So by adding this entry point line, I basically just kind of recreate the command. So the command we use to run our application locally. So basically, I just use the exactly same command on App Engine as well. So this way we can guarantee that no more than one worker is created by App Engine. So this is I think one of the most useful tip here in the app.yaml. So we save this file. Now all we need to do is actually go to the terminal. So just now we already set up our gcloud command. We log down with our Google Cloud account, and we switch to this Discord bot demo project. So all we have left to do is actually just deploy this bot to App Engine. And for that, it's fairly easy to do. So we can find an article about Python App Engine. So because our environment is Python 3, I'll just click on Python 3 directly, and then I click Quick Start. So again, here it's just described. We just we already covered. So how to create a project and how to switch to the project. So now what we need to do is to initialize my app engine. So I will use gcloud app create, because we are already in this project. So I don't think we will have to pass this project argument, but we can do it. It doesn't hurt. So here we are, basically this command means we want to create an app engine application in this project. So and here it asks us to choose the region. Because I'm based in London, so I'm going to choose Europe West 2, so that's a London region. And you can choose the region according to your own location and where your users come from. So in this case, I will choose number 9. So I just type 9 here, and the App Engine application is being created. Again, this may take a couple minutes, so I'll just have a it's actually very fast. So now we don't even need to switch back to this reference, because on the command it already tells us please use gcloud app deploy to deploy my first app. So I copy this command, and here you need to be mindful that where you run this command should normally be where your code is. So basically where your main.py, where your app.yaml file, where those files are. So here I'm already in this directory, so I can just go ahead and copy and paste this code and run it. And here it gives me more information to confirm. So the descriptor of this application, which is the app.yaml, and like I said just a bit a while ago. So the app.yaml is a convention. So App Engine, this command line toolkit, can automatically find this app.yaml file. So I don't need actual configuration to specify this file. So this is exactly the file we want to use. And the source is the directory I'm currently in. And then the project, the target project, is exactly the project we just chosen. And we can ignore, and the service is default, and we can ignore the version and URL for now. So I can confirm those information is correct. So I type Y, and here it may take a couple minutes for real. So I just mute myself and take a sip of water. And it's almost done. So to use this time, I can go back to the point of if you are using Node.js, what you should do. So I can share this public repository for you later, but this is a repository I created just as a App Engine demo, Discord bot on App Engine demo. So if you go to this default directory in this repository, the example is actually using Node.js. So with Node.js, again, you will, similar to main.py, you will have app.js, and similar to requirements txt, you have package.json. So package.json is where you define the dependencies and Node.js app will need. So the dependency is here. And similarly, it also has app.yaml. So this app.yaml is actually a little bit simpler than Python. The runtime, of course, will choose Node.js instead of Python, and the instance class still B1, and manual scaling and instances are still the same. What is missing compared to the Python app.yaml is the entry point. The reason we don't need that in for a Node.js Discord bot is that by default, App Engine only create one worker for your Node.js app, so there's no need to override the default entry point, so we can just leave it as it is. So this is very easy to deploy a Node.js app on App Engine. So now we go back to our command line. We can see that our Python app has already been successfully deployed. And now we can go back to our Discord, and we can see our Discord bot is online. And this is not because I'm running it locally, because I've already quit the local application. So if it's online here, it probably means it's running remotely. So let's give it a go. I'll just type $hello. So it replies me with hello, and if we go back to, so how to confirm if this is actually running remotely on App Engine? So we can go back to this Google Cloud Console, and we just refresh this page. It's a little bit confusing here. So we can go to we can find App Engine in this navigation bar, and we go to Services. Here you can see this service was deployed at about 3 o'clock today, and the version is 1. So this is the application we just deployed. And if we click on Tools and then Logs, we'll be able to see the execution log from App Engine. So you see here there's a message called from just a couple minutes ago. We have logged in as Discord bot demo. So this is the exact the same log message we have seen locally just now and is printed by this line of code, it means this application is running successfully on App Engine, and this bot is also working correctly from App Engine. Okay, I think with that we can already conclude that today's demo. So as you can see, it's really easy to create your first Discord bot, and it's fairly simple to deploy it on App Engine as well. And if we want to make any improvement on today's demo, the first thing I probably would do is to make the token more secure. We can talk about in this part in the following sessions. And what I probably will do is also, so when you deploy this application, it actually deployed a service, like internet-facing service endpoint as well. So if I copy this link, open it in a browser, at the moment it doesn't show anything, but this endpoint is open. So, but for our Discord bot, because we don't really need the Discord server to actually call an endpoint of the Discord bot, it works the other way around. The Discord bot actually actively connect to the server, and once the communication is established, Discord bot will receive message from the server. So we probably want to do some firewall configuration to actually block this endpoint. So just make it a little bit secure, a little bit more secure from a network perspective. Those are the two immediate improvements I would make on top of this project. But just to keep it simple today, I will stop here.